I hope everyone's doing fine okay today after a championship weekend parade from your Texas Rangers. If you're
Yes,
listening, you're listening
sir.
to us and Ali, a sports podcast. Looks like we're going to try to get back into, I guess, back to the normal stuff, head back on
Yeah,
NFL. Like, I kind of forgot that NFL is a thing.
I
Basketball's
kind of wish.
rolling. The Mavericks are rolling.
I kind of want to forget that the NFL is a thing right now.
You still can. You still can. I think Rangers won the World Series is still pretty
Hey,
new,
you see
so
the
we can
hat?
keep
You
on
see the
that. I
hat?
see it.
You
I
see
see it. If
that?
you're
You
on
see
YouTube right
that?
now, as you should be watching this, you can see him wearing it, bro. You see me wearing my Luca tee, bro. I'm
Okay,
rocking Luca
okay,
right now.
okay.
The little LD.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah, man. What a
so how was the
weekend.
weekend? Yeah, how was the weekend?
I was with you Friday. It's pretty cool.
That's a good point. Yeah. Nah. So I think we'll kind of get into it a little bit more. We'll kind of recap the Rangers parade when we get to the MLB, which there's not really a ton other than a little victory lap, but yeah, I know Friday all and I were at the parade, which was a good time. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
Um,
fun. I loved it.
I know I saw like a lot of people like shitting on the
Dude,
whole
there's so
deal,
many people shitting on
and
it.
yeah, and even Emily was like, like why didn't they just wait a couple of days, like plan it a little bit? I was like, like that's kind of a good point. It's kind of a good point,
Uh,
but didn't matter. Then like at the end of the day, I had a good time, and it was still really cool to kind of be able to experience that, and especially to be at like just to say you were there. I mean,
no,
for
yeah.
like however you feel, right? But no, I
hmm
fucking blast. But besides
Yeah,
that, do
like you
anything
said,
cool
we'll
Saturday or
get
anything
into
like
it
that?
more into it when
Yeah.
we get to that baseball talk. Um, Saturday I woke up late as shit. I saw West Ham lose to Brentford. That kind of sucked. No Paqueta or
That's
Edson
tough.
because they love to get yellow cards. I didn't think we looked too bad, but I mean,
Yeah.
props to Brentford. They're still a pretty decent team even without um Tony.
Tony.
So I'll give him
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I give him that. Yeah, I took a fat ass nap on Saturday too. Like I was just bored, man. I just ended up
Yeah.
going out that night to my friend's birthday.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
that's about it.
I saw you drinking on Saturday night, so I was like, "Oh, my boy's getting after it
Yeah,
again."
I was, bro. It was the championship weekend. I still have to keep
Yeah, you got
going.
to sully. It's a sully.
Yeah,
What are you gonna
basically.
do?
Wait, they win. We won on a two. No, we won on a Wednesday. So we still got two
Wednesday,
more
yeah,
days to celebrate. We still got 2 more days to
yeah,
celebrate.
yeah. We got a whole week.
It's a
We got a
week
whole
long
week.
thing. It's a week long thing. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And
Is we're gonna do
Sunday,
it all
just
again next year.
typical church and Cowboy. I like that.
Come on
I
up.
like
Come
that.
on up.
I like that. We'll get to that
Yeah,
again. Right when you
yeah. We'll
think
get
baseball
that. We'll
talk is
get to that.
over, free agency is about to start, and
It's
literally, I think
it
started
keeps going.
today, technically. So
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I guess like me. What did I do on Saturday? Really not much. Just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
Went to dinner with my parents and stuff like that, and then Sunday I pretty much did the same thing. Like morning,
Mm.
like go to church, ran a couple errands, like watched the Cowboys game, and then like chilled and kind of got ready for a week. It was pretty boring, which kind of sucks, but for better or for worse, right? TCU football games are back this weekend, so we'll at least be drinking for that.
Oh yeah. I guess
Um,
forgot that.
oh,
No, it's UT, so
yeah,
it's pretty cool. You figure out a
yeah,
time
that'd
for
be
that?
cool.
Yeah, did have a time for that?
Yeah. We got a time. I'll text
What
you.
time's it at?
We'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Games at
forgot. Okay.
6:30. Games at 6:30. So I'll tell you. I'll text you about the tailgate stuff.
Eesh. Okay. Okay.
But well, anyway, that's a little bit of the weekend recap from us. I know, hopefully, you guys. I mean, I hope you guys are listening because you kind of, give a little bit of a shit about us. So, that's kind of what we're doing
Right.
on the
That
personal lives.
there's more than life
Other
than
than
sports
sports,
ish,
other
kind
than
of.
sports,
Even though it.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, kind of looping back in. I guess the big story right now is the Cowboys. So, I guess I can kind of recap it and then we can kind of get into a little bit of analysis. So basically, right,
Yeah.
Cowboys drop it. They were in Philly, lost 28-23 to Philadelphia, which, I mean, if you go into the fourth quarter, and I would say, like, I think we were down like 17-28 at one point. And if you would have said,
Mhm.
like, hey, you get it to 23 and with 6 seconds to go or with 27 seconds to go, right, you have a chance. You're on the 6-yard line, like, ready to score. Like, I feel like, oh, like, we win that game, no doubt. And then just I think I was texting my best friend, and we played ball together, and it's just like they're just such an undisciplined football team. There's no attention to detail. They
It's a
don't have a winning
reoccurring theme, bro.
mentality.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so frustrating. And you see like Dak in my opinion, he has a great game. In my opinion, he has a great
Oh no,
game.
he
I know,
does.
like
Definitely does.
I
Yeah.
I know that he steps out of bounds on a 2-point conversion, but like Schoonmaker, like if you really want to play like ifs and buts, like Schoonmaker probably should have scored on that touchdown. I mean, there's numerous penalties from the refs that were just like atrocious calls. I mean, our offensive line is absolute dog shit. Like, it's just, I don't think you blame Dak Prescott. But I guess the question that I want to ask you is, where do we go from here? I mean, 5-3, you get blown out by the 49ers in week 5. You lose, I mean, a dumb game to the Cardinals with Josh Dobbs as their quarterback that isn't even
Hey,
their
put some
quarterback
respect
anymore.
on that guy's name.
No, I know.
Put some respect on that guy's name.
But then, like, the one team that, like, in our division, like, we need to be competing with, we compete with them, but, like, we should be winning. And, with as good as this defense is, like, what is it? Like, where do we go from here? What can we look forward to from this team? I know you're not super sold on them, I would say.
No, for sure. I mean, if you guys are following us on our Instagram, Austin_and_Ollie, we had our predictions. Austin, you guys know Austin, bro. He's always just up in the highs.
I'm an eternal optimist. I like to.
Bro, exactly. And I don't know about Debbie Downer, but I like to be like,
yes, you are
realistic, right?
No, bro, you're Debbie Downer.
My prediction was right. I mean, I had the Eagles winning. At some point, it looked like I was gonna be right. We only had 17 points. If you look at it, we only scored 8 points in the second half.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Or 6. My bad, 6. Because we only scored that one touchdown.
And
then we didn't get like the PAT or exactly. So, I mean, I don't think we should panic about yet. I mean, we know that we can beat the below average teams, but I do think that Cardinals' loss is going to come and bite you in the ass. Think about it. Right now, you should be.
I think so too.
What are we now? 6-3.
Yeah, we're 5-3, and we're the 6th seed. And we're 5-3, and we're the 6th seed in the NFC right now. So in the first round, that would be a matchup at San Francisco, the one team that I don't want to play in the NFC.
That just has your damn number.
Team. Yeah.
Yeah, but you look at the rest of the schedule. The only guys you really have to worry about are. You are going to have a stretch of Eagles, Bills, Dolphins.
That's tough.
Very tough. We talked about the Bills and Dolphins quite a bit when we had our predictions.
Yeah. How many of those games are home? I know the Eagles will be at home. I think if anything, I want that Buffalo game.
It's
the
one
Buffalo
of them.
game. If it's not the Buffalo
One's
game,
a Christmas Eve game at Miami.
Okay, good. Because
and then
I think
Buffalo.
We're at Buffalo.
We're at Buffalo.
Oh, we're cooked, dude.
Yeah, it was back-to-back away games.
We're
and you come back and you come home to the Lions.
I mean, the Lions are the 2 seed. The Lions are the 2 seed.
That's really going to show you what this team is about. If they're going to show you what the true colors of what we've seen in the past, it's going to be maybe close games. But you just end up shooting yourself in the foot, and you're just not built for those moments in the clutch.
Not built for it. So, yeah, I mean, I think kind of going back to the game and how, like, I've talked about how I think they're an undisciplined team. I'd kind of mentioned it, but the last possession of the game, the Cowboys got the ball with, like, 50-something seconds left. A couple big plays, drives down the field, and with 27 seconds left, the Cowboys have the ball, 1st and goal from the 6. And you would expect, like, hey, like, you have a shot.
At least 4 or 3 shots in the end zone. From the 6.
A couple, and I mean, you have no timeouts. You're assuming that these plays, if they're going to be in the back of the end zone, they're going to be something.
Yeah.
Just this team just continues to shoot themselves in the foot. Immediately after the 1st and goal, false start. That's another. So now it's 1st and goal from the 11. Sack. Oh, that's great. Clock's running, and you lose the yards. Next play, incompletion. Clock at least stops. Then delay a game, pushes you back to the 27 maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have a final play where you find CD open, but like there's just nobody there, and then he just gets basically jumped and curb stomped by the entire the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. Like,
that was just great. That was great coverage by Philly. I mean, they knew it was basically like a short Hail Mary. Like, it was probably the worst thing you could have asked for as a Cowboys, like in the offensive situation.
Yeah, so it's just like I mean, just this team, you got to learn how to win at some point. And I know that you've been. I don't want to say you've been a Dak Prescott hater, but I think that you haven't been pro Dak Prescott, but like
Impressed. Or haven't been impressed
impressed.
so far. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I did a deep dive today, and I was just kind of looking at the numbers. But like Dak is currently playing at an elite level, I think, in my opinion. You can try to change my mind, but these are what the stats say, right? So in the entire NFL, he's fifth in total QBR. The quarterbacks that he's behind: Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, the elites, and that puts him ahead of Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Tua. I mean, Jalen Hurts, like that. That's upper echelon of the quarterbacks in NFL. He has the lowest bad throw percentage in an entire NFL at 7.7%, which means, that he's given the receivers a chance and he's not just completely fucking something up. And then the biggest thing that I was like super impressed with is basically after the San Francisco game. So since week 6, Dak has the highest expected points added per play of any quarterback in the entire NFL. So basically saying like any play that Dak Prescott's out there, he's adding 0.32 points to the Cowboys score, right? At the end of the day. So, that's just showing that like he's playing at an elite level, and like analytics are backing this up. Like stats are backing this up. Like he's doing everything that he can, and I understand at some point, right, you have to win. But he's doing everything that you can to kind of keep the Cowboys in games. But then, right, you have bad offensive line play.
That was terrible.
Terrible. Terrence Steele. He's allowed 28
Don't
pressures.
Even say his name,
over,
bro. Don't
28
even say his
pressures
name.
over 8 games. Yesterday against the Eagles, he allowed 12 pressures alone. Like, what are you gonna do? And then we have no running game. Like, we let go Zeke, which is fine. Like, I agree that we needed to, but Tony Pollard, like, either they're not giving him the ball or the offensive line just can't block. Like,
what do you think? Because I really was generally thinking that with Tony Pollard, I was like, I haven't seen that explosiveness from him. It's the first year of him being the main back, but I don't think it's him. I don't want to blame it on him. If you're talking about how terrible this O-line is, I feel like it's got to be that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it just falls on the offensive line. Like even Zach Martin's not having a great year. Like Zach Martin's allowed 13 pressures, which I know is like passing, but still like he's not killing it by any means. But I also think that part of it is kind of due to the fact that I think we've kind of had a shuffling offensive line. Like at some point, Tyler Smith has been hurt. At some point, Tyron Smith has been hurt. Zach Martin was out for a little bit.
They were all healthy this week. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's hard to get any sort of continuity, and then like for whatever reason, just like it's just not running the ball well. And I think they're just it's hard to develop a run game when you don't like kind of force it to work. But then like at some point, right, you have to run a little more play action and then try to like get the defense to bite, and then but still like they're obviously not having the ball like issues throwing the ball. Like they can do that all day long. So it's just I think it's at some point it's just execution, it's attention to detail, and I think a lot of it is just like bad. I think a lot of it does stem from the trenches. It stems from bad offensive line play, which sucks because you're so used
You've
to
always been
like
known
thinking of like
the Cowboys.
Exactly.
O-line is that's the thing.
The Great Wall of Dallas.
Sucks,
Great Wall of Dallas.
If everything sucks, but there's always one thing that's gonna be there, and it's the O-line.
And it's the offensive line.
That's what it's been known for.
And so I don't know, man, and I think that's tough. And I don't want to like completely say that Tony Pollard's having a bad year, but like he's also averaging like ain't nowhere near what he's averaged in the past. So I think that it's a combination of things. I think that the scheme is a little bit different on the offensive side. Like it was definitely from a run like play design, but so maybe he just like naturally just fits into better to what we were doing last year. I mean, that's possible.
I mean, there's a whole other offense too that you're working with.
Exactly. Yeah, and so I think at some point it's like I think it's tough to run the ball when your offensive line isn't doing anything crazy. So that's what I think it kind of boils down to. And then so I did have one more thing from like an analytics standpoint that I was kind of surprised by that I wasn't really expecting. So there is this thing called team tiers, and it basically like kind of ranks and like puts all the teams in the NFL into tiers based on it's like an XY axis, right? Like gonna get a little like nerdy on you, but it's like an XY axis, and on one side
you got nerdy this whole time. Don't worry, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. On one side, it's on the x-axis, it's like the offensive expected points added per play, and on the y-axis, it's the defensive expected points added per play, right? So you want to be in the top right, which is where like you have the highest,
the highest,
yeah, the highest and the highest and the lowest, right? Because you want to take away points on defense. Well, the first tier is like kind of who you would expect of like the who's who of, you know, like what you expect for like Super Bowl contenders, right? So you got San Francisco, Baltimore, believe it or not, is up there, and then you have like a pretty close tie between Buffalo and Miami, which you kind of saw those were two good teams that had a really good game this weekend, or a couple weekends ago. But where I was pretty shocked was the Cowboys are pretty solidly a second tier team, and it's not by much. I mean, we're right like on the border of a tier 1, tier 2, just on the tier 2 side. And the two teams that are like, we're pretty much stacked on top of another team. Do you want to take a guess on what team that is?
That wasn't the three you just mentioned?
No, yeah, it's not any of the four that we just mentioned. So it's the Cowboys, and the Cowboys and one AFC team are basically like dead similar, right on top of each other.
I don't know.
Kansas City, which like basically saying like per play basis, right? Like the Cowboys and Kansas City are as successful as each other. But I think the big difference is if Kansas City and the Cowboys were to play, Kansas City knows how to win a ball game. They know how to win a close game, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
yeah.
And that's where that difference, that like analytics takes you so far and allows you to like, hey, like, okay, yeah, sure, you're a successful ball team when it comes to on a per play basis, but you have to know how to win, right? And then just to round it out, the last team in the second tier was Philadelphia, but like on a points added per play basis, we're a better team than them. So I thought it was interesting, and like I think like my engineering brain, right, like kind of goes into like enjoys the analytics. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But still, I think at the end of the day, right, like it's a indisciplined football team. Just the two crucial penalties on that last drive, just mental mistakes. I think it's tough to be excited about it, and it's tough to have like it's easy for you to be a Debbie Downer because, I mean, what?
I've been through it, bro. I've seen it way too many times.
And so exactly, and it's like, and the bad thing is like I'm getting to that point too, where like it's every single week I'm like, all right, here we go, we're gonna get back on track, we're gonna be fine. But like just this team is just so like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Just like one time they're like just world beaters, and then next week they just look like frauds. They just look ridiculous. So
you got the guys. Like it's not that you got the guys.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But that's all I have for the Cowboys / NFL. Do you got anything else before we move on?
Yeah, I'll briefly talk my point of view on the game. So obviously, I mean, the obvious was the refs just being absolutely just terrible. Yep. You got the illegal hands to the face on, was it Gallup or was it Tolbert, that they pick up the flag. That just already pisses you off. You also have Dak in that final drive where he gets speared in the head when he's already down. I don't know if you remember that. Something like that should have been called too. But we could have complained all night long, whatever. I mean, obviously we did. But you could have put all that shit away with that final drive.
Yep.
Like you said, you throw that ball deep. Michael Gallup tries his best to get a PI, and it works. You get a big chunk play with that. And then, I forget what happens now. I think CD gets a big catch, right?
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, CD,
and that's how we get into
got a big catch on the sideline.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get to the 6, and I'm just like, guys, like we had the ball with 50-something seconds in our own, like, 15, 12, right? Around that area. I'm like, you could put this game to bed, and this can be one of the Dak's, like, legendary, like, you're going to go back and watch this game and be like, look what Dak Prescott did.
Yep.
And I'm not, like you said, I kind of just got off the Dak train because I got tired of taking all the bullets for him. But I think I just was able to recognize that he can be like there's like average, below average, and then like great quarterbacks in the league.
Yep.
And I think I put him in. I mean, he has had good performances, but I think he's in the. I mean, obviously, this last performance is amazing. I was proud of him. 300 yards, 3 tutties, and he only had so and so incompletions, like maybe like 5 or 6. But then you look at the ones I incomplete. I hate to be like nitpicky, but the Dalton or I was gonna say Dalton Schultz. The Ferguson play that you throw the ball to Jalen Tolbert on a 4th down.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's hard to defend.
I mean, they show the play.
Hard to defend that.
Yeah, you show the play with CD, and like I said, I hate doing that, but we're talking about the game. There's a reason we're behind the screen and we're not fucking playing. That's all I'm saying.
No, 100%,
right? That's what we
100%.
do. Exactly. So they show the play. CD runs. I mean, he runs a really pretty deep route, which I'm kind of surprised. I guess they went with like, all right, if CD's open for the big play, we have it, instead of him running just a play to get the first down. So they have him covered. But then you see Ferguson beat his guy so quick off the line. And he's inside. Like, he's made that play so many times. And I don't know why he just... I don't know what he was thinking, what he thought. And then went to Jalen Tolbert, and that pissed me off. But then, like I said, you could have put... Yeah, you could put all those things away with those play calls, all the flags, and you're at their 6 with 27 seconds. And you somehow end up all the way at the 23-yard line or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that was
the bad thing is, it is, and I don't think you can really. I think you definitely have a shout for the Jalen Tolbert one, but like I don't think you can really get mad. Maybe the delay game, but I mean like the false start, like that's not on him. The sack's not on him. Like
no, I'm not saying on him. I'm just saying in general, like not him. Yeah, just in general.
And that's why I think they're an indisciplined team. They're not disciplined. I think that's what it is.
It's been a reoccurring thing. I'm pretty sure there's numbers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's numbers with. I don't know if it's since Mike McCarthy, but I think since Mike McCarthy, we've been having all these penalty issues. And it's like
the most penalized
penalties.
Team.
It's penalties, but it's all what pisses you off even more is the pre-snap penalties.
Yep.
That's what pisses you off.
Yep.
The other ones you can like. I mean, we can talk about Brandon Aubrey. Sadly, gets that kick, and you give really good field position because he kicks out of bounds. And there's other one that's a touchback, and one of your bum ass practice players and special teams gets a face mask on a touchback, and adds another whatever yardage to that.
Yeah, 15.
So there was a lot of things. Yeah, a lot of things. But I'm not blaming Dak at all. That's what I'm saying. I mean, deep down in my heart,
and
that's my guy.
Yeah,
deep down, that's my guy. And like you said, you put the numbers. He's been playing respectfully some good ass ball.
He's cooking.
I mean, CD Lamb too, 190 yards.
Yes, CD has been disgusting this year.
I had like 2 weeks ago. One of my friends was like, "Do you really think that CD is a wide receiver 1?" I'm like,
"Yes."
Yeah. And I was I saw him today at the gym. I was like, "What do you think about my wide receiver 1 now, huh?"
Yeah, CD a number 1 receiver now. Yeah,
exactly.
And it's like that's not the first time he's done that this season, where he's just like taking over a game either. So
I think there's only 3 guys in the NFL that have 10 or more catches in a game in like 3 weeks. I forgot what it was. It was some other stat. There's only 3 guys. It was like him, Adam Thielen, and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, and that's just upper echelon. Well, that's the rants, I guess, from both of us for the Cowboys. And I know you had one more thing you want to talk about was NFL, the receiving leaders.
Was it the thing I sent you? Yeah. Oh yeah, let's guess who the receiving leaders were for the NFL this week. You will be so surprised. At number 1, your wide receiver 1, obviously, 191 yards.
Disgusting.
Second guy, do you remember this guy?
Yeah.
He blew you a game last year against Jacksonville. Ball hit his chest. You know, it was a pick 6 right to the crib.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, in overtime.
Yeah, in overtime, and then that adds another pick to Dak Prescott. Noah Brown, 153 yards. Slight
crazy
for the Texans.
In Houston. Yeah, in Houston.
You remember that one guy that Jerry Jones traded for a bag of chips? One of your wide receivers?
Yeah, in a washing machine.
And you wanted to pay Michael Gallup instead? Yeah, Amari Cooper for the Browns, 139 yards.
Don't even get me started on Michael Gallup, dude. Don't even get me started on Michael Gallup.
And this one I'm okay with. I mean, it's I was okay with him walking away because he pissed me off on his last game as a Cowboy. It was a tight end. He didn't know when to get out of bounds, or when he did, he just didn't know the rules, and he just stopped trying. Dalton Schultz, 130 yards. Top 4 in receiving yards, all Cowboys or former Cowboys.
Yeah, that's so crazy. And when I saw that, I knew that CJ Stroud had a big game in Houston, but to see like Noah
I never looked
Brown
at the
getting the
numbers.
ball for Noah Brown 153 yards, like what are you doing? And the bad thing was
I
like
was just
Noah
thinking it was
Brown
like Nico
up,
Collins and Tank Dell.
yeah, and like because I saw on fantasy like I had Tank down my bench, so like I saw that he had a ton of yards or
Yeah.
a ton of points. So I was like, oh, he must have had a big day. And like all Noah Brown did with the Cowboys was like he was up until really last season, he was a blocking receiver. Like they
Yeah.
kind of used him as a tight end. And then to see him like he had 6 catches for 153 yards this week and a
6
touchdown
catches.
with a 75-yard completion, which is like unreal to me. So that's somebody that you would never really expect.
Yeah,
But
I just want to give props to
it's
CJ
kinda funny
Stroud.
to see that.
He's a dog.
He's a ball. He's a baller,
I thought he was
bro.
way better than Bryce Young in general. Like before, I just thought he was the guy, and then he's just been proving it. He's awesome.
You and Bryce Young are the same height, bro.
Is he actually that tall? Like, are you serious?
No, Bryce Young is like 5'10".
He's actually 5.
I swear to you,
I'm not
Bryce
5'10".
Young is
I wish I was
tiny.
5'10". Fuck you.
I mean, I was being a little dramatic, but
I was about to say, I was like, wait, I mean Bryce Young really the same height? I'd love to be Bryce Young's height. I would love that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he's 5'10". I think 5'10's a stretch though. He's so little.
Wow. Is that with cleats on?
Yeah, probably is. But
okay, I think I could be 5'10"
anyway,
with cleats on.
I wish I can't, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, man, that's the NFL. I think you got any final thoughts, anything like that, or is that's kind of wraps it up, huh?
I still think the Eagles are fraud. I mean, we've talked about it kind
I
of
think so too.
week in, week out. But the thing is, like you've been talking about, you can go back to the numbers, you can do whatever, but they can win games.
Yeah, they're not
They've been able to show that they can win those close games.
There's no coach in the NFL that I want to shut up more than Nick Sirianni.
Nick Sirianni! Fuck!
His face.
I hate that guy so much.
His face, bro. I hate him so much. And it's like kind of sad because I don't know the guy, but like still, like just something about him. He's just he's so cringy. I
could give two shits about him. I could give two shits about him. And the thing is, he just fits Philly. What pisses me off, he fits Philly. Like that's his
yeah.
He just fits it. Like that's his team. Like he just fuck.
I just hate it.
And the brotherly show just keeps on working. So, but yeah, let's move on.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I don't even want to talk.
Let's move on.
Fuck that.
Well, so, let's get to some good news. How about that? Let's move on a little Ollie and outfield. Let's bring it back.
Oh,
a little Rangers talk.
I don't know how long we'll be talking baseball for, but until some big trade happens or Ohtani comes to the Rangers. We'll talk a little bit quick about the parade. Austin and Ollie were on site. If you guys follow us on the social media, like we said, TikTok, Austin and Ollie, we put some clips there. Instagram, put some clips there. And it was tough for me and Austin to get together. We tried really hard, guys.
Oh my god!
I don't think you guys understand what we went through to try to get together at this parade.
No, I literally like
A+ effort.
We parked on two opposite sides of
the
stadium, two opposite ends, and then Ollie was dragging a massive cooler with like a bunch of beer in it, and you walked like a mile and a half. On the other hand, I was in the wrong side, and with the parade, which makes sense, right? They block off all the roads, so you can't cross. Well, I had to walk all the way around the old stadium, all the way around the new stadium. Man, I walked for probably an hour straight, just around people and things, and like getting cut off, all to finally like show up. But we were determined. There was one point where the vibes were low. I said, "Hey, man, I'm just not gonna make it. Like, I'm not gonna see you. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'll catch you in a bit."
I wouldn't have been mad. I was like, it's gonna be impossible almost, or like you can get here if you want. You're gonna have to walk a shit ton though, is what I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. And I did.
So props to you, man. That's crazy.
I'm glad I did because we had a good time. Had a couple beers.
It was a great time.
It was a good time.
Couple brewskis. So, yeah,
it was fun. We
got some content, and so
yeah, it was cool. But I guess
I'll talk a little bit how
pretty much I
want to talk about how like people were shitting on it for it. Like obviously, especially Astro fans. I'll give them one though. I really don't think the truck per person was a good idea.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
That's not what I was envisioning. I thought it was gonna be like a big ass like double decker.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
buses like took like 5 minutes in between, which like that sucks. Like you're sitting there like, oh, blah blah blah, and then okay,
Yeah, and I
then
heard
you're
it was
bored.
super quick too. I mean, because obviously, like we didn't get to see it because we stayed at Texas Live. We rather set up on the ceremony side, so like everyone just started crowding us at the
Yeah,
very end. Like we had a
which I
great
think was a
spot.
good move. I think it was a good move.
Yeah, that's what I thought personally. Like, I was like, I could give like I'm kind of glad because if I would have sat there, I'm gonna be honest. If I would have sat there
Yeah,
with a good spot, and then I see individual trucks driving
yeah,
by
I
with
would
their
have been
names
pissed.
on it, like if we don't know who they are, because I guess that's how bandwagon we are, like just Ranger fans in general. They had signs of who was who.
Yeah, it's understand.
I
Yeah, it's
was
tough.
but I give him that. Like, I mean, obviously, people. I mean, Houston's gonna shit on us for anything, but I could give two shits. Like, you're watching our parade.
Hey, they're
Okay,
in Cancun, baby.
suck on that.
They're in Cancun.
Suck on that. Yeah, I didn't know there was service over there. Shit, it's pretty good Wi-Fi. All right, let's get to some other good stuff. There's some Gold
Yep.
Glovers announced during the Cowboy game is going on. I'm just sitting there and I get the notifications. Like, oh, hey, look, Gold Glove, Gold Glove, Gold Glove. Texas Rangers got 3 Gold Glovers. Catcher Jonah Heim, first baseman Nathaniel Lowe, my guy. Props to him.
Yeah,
He worked a lot defensively on his game this year.
yeah,
He was one of the worst defenders last year for first base.
yeah. And I thought
He was an
he was
absolute
great.
dog this year.
He was
Absolute
absolutely
dog.
great this year.
And then, of course, El Bombia, Dolis Garcia, add
The
some more
fucking cannon,
silverware.
bro. The cannon.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised Simeon didn't get one.
Yeah, yeah.
That one
I think
really threw me
Semi is a shout that he probably should have had it. Which and like, I think Josh Young. We have a future Gold Glove third baseman
Ooh,
too.
Josh Young, dude.
I think like if he doesn't get hurt at the end of the season, I mean, not only
Yeah.
is he probably in the
that's
running
his.
for
I
Gold
think
Glove,
it's his. Has to be.
and then
Mhm.
also he's in the
Rookie
running
of the
for
year, maybe.
He probably wins Rookie of the Year. He probably wins Rookie of the
And the
Year.
thing is,
with how
we
like
don't know. I mean, he missed how many? Was it 6 or 5?
it was like 6 weeks. Yeah, I mean he pretty much
We can't predict
lost,
how good or how bad he would have been. But you're right.
Yeah, but I mean
He
at the
definitely was
time
up
he was
there.
leading. He was the All-Star starter at third base. And then
Yeah.
at the time, he was probably him and I think Gunnar Henderson were the ones that were leading
Yeah.
leading the AL Rookie of the Year. So I think like,
Gunnar Henderson's gonna run away with it.
yeah, I think at this point Gunnar Henderson got it, but I mean still like I think it's crazy. And I thought it was pretty interesting that this was the first time in Rangers history. This is what the PR said, or Rangers PR said, that this is the first time in Texas Rangers history that there are 3 Gold Glove winners in a single season, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think you had like guys like Kinsler, Elvis Andrews, Michael Young, Agent
Yeah.
Beltre, all play around at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I mean, props to them. I'm glad that we finally get some recognition. Obviously, you win the World Series, you get a bunch of that. And end of the year award nominations. Believe it or not, 3 Rangers were nominated for the AL MVP.
Yeah, that's facts. If you guys don't know
Corey
it yet,
Seager,
yeah.
Marcus Semien, and Shohei Ohtani, the GOAT,
Future.
will be a Ranger.
Yeah, future Ranger.
Will be a Ranger. I'm kind of surprised with Semien. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was top 3, but I'd take that.
Yeah, and I think that you can analytics people, because analytics people, right, are so big in baseball.
Yeah.
But they're gonna say it because he started every single game in that leadoff spot, and then
he has the most at bats ever.
Yeah, and I think he was
leading this season.
I think he was leading the AL in wins above replacement, and a lot of that is because he was there. Yeah. He was there.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's super surprising. I think he had a great year. But yeah,
I think so too. I guess I just didn't think he would have been. I mean, because you have guys like Jordan, but I think he missed a lot.
That's fair.
Cal Tucker had a terrible postseason, but he had a really good. I think top 5s that they were showing towards the end of the season was Ohtani, Seager, Adolis, Cal Tucker, and I think Marcus Semien was even on there. So I guess I knew it was gonna be Corey Seager and Ohtani, and then I saw Semien and I said, shit. I mean, dude, that Simeon's been. We'll give him top 3. I think he'll get third, obviously, again. Top 3 finishes for MVP in the last. He got it twice in the last 4 years because when we signed him, he had just coming off second MVP, second place or third place for Toronto.
Yeah.
So that's massive. Having the captain, what they call him, and just having all that is just amazing to have on your team. Guy that just wants to keep playing.
And I think that's 100%. And then I think he's just a professional, and I think that like I think guys like Josh Young and Evan Carter said like how big of an importance that guys like Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon had on the entire clubhouse, especially with the young guys, because they're professionals. I mean, they've been there on the biggest stage, right? Like Corey Seager had already have a World Series MVP under his belt. Marcus Simeon, I mean, like you said, was in second or third in MVP voting back like a couple seasons ago. So just have those guys that just know how to work on a daily basis and, you know, have shown to be successful at the biggest stage. I think those guys are just so valuable to have. And, you know, we'll have a third guy like that next year in Shohei Ohtani.
Eesh. I don't know who's going to talk to him, but yeah. I think you just have the best and right guys to show these like the young guys on what to do.
Absolutely.
With Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon. Like in the clubhouse, I've heard like all about good things, or everything, just good things about how everyone they just love it. Like everyone was being selfless. You saw that a lot this year with like people getting moved around the lineup or whatever Bochy was doing. You know, moving Martin Perez into a bullpen role, and then Heaney, and then Dunny moving back and forth, like all of that. So again,
and I think
before we get on the baseball talk,
yeah, and I think like during the World Series, one of the commentators had mentioned that to Bochy that like nobody wanted to talk about themselves, and like everybody was just like, oh, the guys. Like I think that just speaks.
The post game interviews were just always like when they had like the main guy, quote unquote, you know, talking. It was always just praising everyone else but themselves.
Exactly, and
that's awesome. I love that.
That's one thing that like, you know, I mean. We'll get into it, but like the Rangers are not in talks, but like they're favorites to land a lot of these like big name free agents now because they obviously just won the World Series. Like, I don't want to lose that because I think that was so key to our success throughout the season. And like trading for a guy like Austin Hedges, that I mean, couldn't bat to save his life, but like
vital role.
He was such a vibes guy and like such a guy in the clubhouse that like you needed to like, you know, play cards with, to like, you know, mentor the young guys, to show like, oh, what it's like to
draw some shit on his ass or something, you know?
Yeah, like it just needed guys like that. So I think that's what separates good teams from great teams, and that's why the Rangers were able to do what they did, and they were just so resilient throughout the year. So it's awesome. It's exciting.
Yeah. And like you said, I think being on the road for so long even brought like the vibes and morale just even better. Between them.
Yeah, they just
knowing that what they were doing, what the main goal was. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then over on the other side, NL MVPs, Acuna, Freddie, Mookie. So both sides have only 2 teams involved in the MVPs. And I think Acuna easily runs away with that one, just like he runs away with the bases. So that one's easy. And then annual manager was also Bruce Bochy was nominated, right? He didn't, or did he win?
Yeah, he was nominated. I don't remember who the other ones were. I mentioned
it doesn't
the people
matter.
that were
doesn't
the
matter.
Rangers,
He's gonna win
but
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that boy Bruce is gonna win it.
The GOAT. Big old head.
Yeah, and then since like I said, his big ass hat's gonna be in the Hall of Fame or whatever that memorabilia thing.
His head is massive. His head is so big.
It's like video they were asking him questions of like, hey, what size is Bruce Bochy? And everyone's like, oh, he's got a big ass head. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
jump
gotta
scare.
Be a big one.
Jump scare. It's so big.
Yeah.
Pause.
Wow, I didn't even catch that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
All right, well, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Like we said, so MLB is really fast with just off-season stuff. Like winter season meetings are about to start.
And
so
that's
this
where
period
a lot of trades
about
and stuff
free
like
agents
that'll happen, right?
Yeah, so free agent stuff is opened up today, but then all the guys on your team that were free agents, you can, or the ones that had the team options, player options, you have these last 2 days to see if they're going to test free agency or not. So in that time period, he picked up his player option, which is lovely. He's a great guy to have, and I think this was like the healthiest he's ever been, from what I know, because I know on the Dodgers the year before, he was hurt a lot last year, and then he was just that guy where he was like, okay, I need you to start. Okay, no, I need you to come out the pen, and he was just able to flip flop in between those. So that was massive. And your guy Jose, I'm not gonna say his last name.
Leclerc.
Picked up his team option, so he's coming back.
That's my dog. I love that man.
And I know
I love him
we
so
briefly
much.
talked about it last week, where this team is not going to be the same ever again.
No.
It's kind of sad to think about because I mean the guys are going to leave or someone's going to come in. Like I mean that's the thing for every sport is the same team is never going to be together ever again. And it's kind of sucks, but it's also like you value the guys a lot more.
Yeah.
And clearly this was a good group of guys. And I know you briefly mentioned about like if you think Trevor Bauer would be an option at some point last season, and I don't think he would be. You have Corey Seager to maybe put in a word for him. It's either bad or good.
Shout.
So I personally don't think he will, just because I don't know if that'll mess up the vibe in the locker room. And obviously they have something and they don't want to mess it up. So that's gonna be I think key vital role with free agency. If someone's gonna fit on the team, almost like a job interview. Some bosses interview to be like, oh, I kind of want to see if you fit in with the people that you work with, because think about it, you're gonna be with them all the time. So
I mean,
it's a big thing that I think a lot of people just don't even think about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with baseball, you spend so much time on the road, and you spend so much time with the same guys.
Like, every day,
you have to have that.
Every day,
you have to have that good clubhouse. I mean, because if you don't have you can see basically like what happened with the White Sox this year, right? Like, they basically imploded, and I mean, you go to shit, and you can't once you have that bad seed and that bad energy in the clubhouse. I mean, there may be a little clicks here and there with the Spanish guys and the guys from the States or like the guys from Japan or something like that. But still, you still want to have the camaraderie between everybody, because that just kind of shows like good teams, really really good teams, or teams that like when the shit hits the fan, like they're going to be able to stick together, they're going to be able to rebound, they're going to be able to they want to fight for each other, and I think that's what this year's team had.
And it's so easy to say it, just as in, I mean, you won the World Series. So I feel like it's easy to say that, oh yeah, I mean the locker room was always like good vibes, but then you go to a team that was like dog shit. Like you go as Oakland, like I wonder how their locker room was. Yeah, they could be like, and we're shit, but we're having fun. Like we still we know what we're doing. We get paid to be shit. Woo, why would we be mad?
Yep.
Or you got like these White Sox or just other teams. Like it's easy to say as a Rangers perspective or a team that just won the whole thing to be like, yeah, our locker room was so and so, but you can still make and define like in times where times get rough. We went on a what was it 4-16?
We won 4 games out of 20, so 4-16.
Yeah, like how was it there? I think that's when it matters. When you're winning, obviously, who cares whatever happens? Everyone's having a good time. But when you're down, that's when you know how everyone, like the real you, how you're able to bounce back and stuff like that. So
exactly,
I'm sure that took a big part of it too. And then free agency stuff will happen here and there, and then if it happens, you'll hear from us here for sure. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, no. So I know. Yeah, I think we'll probably know stuff probably in the next couple episodes. I would say probably 2 or 3 episodes. I would say. So
yeah,
hopefully there's some big news coming. That'd be pretty nice.
Would you rather keep Montgomery and get Josh Hader, the reliever, the closer for Padres,
or
Ohtani? Or Ohtani?
I think probably get Hader and keep Monty. I think because that's 2 arms that you can have. And I think that, it sounds cocky to say, but I think our bats were, we had one of the best offenses in baseball. So, I mean, what are we going to, and Ohtani can't even pitch next season because I'm pretty sure, didn't he have TJ or something
eventually.
Like that? Yeah, but
he will eventually, though. Like next year.
I don't know.
Or 2025.
25. Yeah. So, obviously, right, it's Ohtani, but
I think it's a win-win, though.
It's a
I'm
win-win,
not going to be mad on who you pick. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
You keep another starter that was amazing for you, and you get a reliever, one of the best relievers, if not the best.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win. Now, I will say,
so I just want to hear your opinion.
This is a deep cut. It's a deep cut, but I would love for the Rangers to get the new pitcher from Japan that's coming over.
the
Yashimoto,
Asian dude?
I think it's his name. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's Yashimoto, and his stats in Japan are better than Yu Darvish was, better than Tanaka, I think was the other guy that just came over, or a couple years ago that balled out when he came over. So, and I'm just obviously, right, I don't know shit about scouting baseball, but some of the stuff that I've seen, his stats and all that stuff, are just crazy. So, hey, if he can do it over there, maybe he does it over here.
Have you heard of Roki Sasaki or no?
Nah, I haven't heard of him before.
Yeah, I think he's the 21-year-old. I feel like I think he has to play more. I don't think he's eligible for the MLB yet.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
That's how it works, I think, with foreign guys.
Yeah, you have to be
he's a dog. Whenever
posted.
You
have to be posted.
Yeah,
basically,
you hear from him, dude.
Basically, pay a transfer fee is what it is.
Yeah, he's a dog.
So
Roki Sasaki,
Okay.
remember that name, bro? He's a dog.
All right.
He's like 21. I
Hey,
think he
deep
already threw like
cuts.
2 perfect games or some shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh, was he?
for
Was he?
like
He was on the
WBC.
the WBC team. Yeah. Okay, I
Yeah.
remember the name.
Yeah, Roki Sasaki. Yeah, he's but
Stud.
I think he has to play a little bit longer. I think that's the same thing with like that's why Otani. And then that one Asian or another Asian dude I think that is entering the draft. I don't know if you heard about him.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like
The
a
18-year-old
big
kid.
first baseman, and he has like more homers
Yeah.
than like I forgot whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play baseball at like Vanderbilt, and then he's going to enter the draft next year, or something of that nature. Because I think the 3 years
something around there.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
his name.
awesome.
But I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I know
Oh, good. Hopefully everyone else does too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Oof. Yeah, that's all I got.
Certified ball knowers over here.
Right? Certified
Yeah.
MLBers here.
Yeah, but all right. Well, moving on to the next thing. NBA's back in session, which is big time.
I think it's our first segment, right, with NBA.
Yeah, first segment. I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but nothing with like active. Nothing.
Oh, yeah, we talked a little bit like nothing. Yeah, first in-season talk.
Mavs are now 6-1. They just went final, so they won tonight over the Orlando Magic off of a brutal back-to-back. They won tonight 117-102. Currently now sitting at 6-1, or 6-1 or 5-1. It's one of the two. It doesn't matter. Yeah, 6-1. Which I think is tied for first in the West. Which I mean, super early, right? 7 games into the season, but I think that they've been playing really good ball, and the only game that they lost was a tough game in Denver to the Nuggets. But
yeah, it's versus the Denver. Yeah,
it's what do you expect, right? I mean, not what do you expect? Like you hope to win those games, but it's early on, and I think that like even like Kyrie hasn't played much, and he isn't like scoring a ton, but like I think that as a team they've played really good ball, and it's exciting to see. Like hopefully they kind of start picking it up, and think maybe we have a pretty good team on the hands as long as everybody stays healthy.
Yeah, don't call me Debbie Downer or whatever, but we do have an easy schedule. But you are winning the games. You're winning the games. Like giving them props, but they do have an easy schedule that they should be winning these games. That's all I'm saying, which I'm happy about. I'm happy about. That's all I'm saying. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, so I want to say, what are your thoughts on some of the new players that we have 6-7 games now into the season? Grant Williams, Derek Lively.
I talked about it last week. Yeah, I talked about it last week where I said Derek Lively. This is my second formal apology to you. But also a little bad thing on you is that he gets in foul trouble. That's the young nature of a MLB, or I was going to say MLB, the NBA center.
NBA.
I think he had a lot of foul trouble too in college. So it's going to take time to adjust. But when he's not in foul trouble early, he can really damage the alley-oop with and then pick and roll with Luka, Kyrie, whatever. He's crazy in the paint. He fights for rebounds. So I think it's a good thing that it kind of shows that he's aggressive, but he needs to know when to not be as aggressive, if that makes any type of sense.
Yeah.
And Derek Jones Jr., and you have him on here too. He's been having some crazy stuff. I think he was saying like
he's kind of been starting a lot like recently, right?
19 something. He does get to start more than half the time, but he won't finish the games off in like 20 to 25 minutes here and there.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I don't think it's a significant, like, it's not going to be like an addition to the team that like makes waves, right? But I think that's something that like raises the floor of the team that much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think these minutes that we're giving him were minutes that we were giving to who last year? I mean, I don't even remember who our backup small forward was, or like another forward that we had last year on the team.
We signed Seth Curry, and you have almost rarely even seen him.
Yeah, like I think that I understand that maybe, I mean we have had an easy schedule, but I think still like this team is just way like just has a higher floor.
How many games have you watched last year? Have you sit there and like watched a couple of quarters? Like which ones?
I've watched today, yesterday, and then I watched one of the ones. I watched a little bit of the Nuggets game, so I watched 3 or so games.
Yeah, I'll give him. I saw the Nugget game. I think that was my first like complete game.
Yeah,
I mean it's the Nuggets. Like it's the Nuggets, dude. It's Jokic. It's MPJ. It's everyone. I'm missing a lot of guys. Obviously, Jamal Murray,
yeah.
Caldwell Pope. So they're dogs, and like obviously
Aaron Gordon.
One of their weakest points is just if you look at all the points that most are giving up are all around the paint. It's gonna be still a reoccurring problem that we're still trying to fix. But I mean, you were still somewhat in that game against the Nuggets when it looks like you were out of it. Kyrie, Luka, and Hardaway's been having a pretty good year. I think silently has been actually hooping. I think you mentioned it to me.
Yeah.
Like you were like, bro, why is he averaging so and so? And I was
business. He has no
I was
business.
like,
He's the second
what?
leading
When you
scorer,
told me
or
that-
the third leading scorer on the team. Third leading scorer.
When he gets hot, man. I mean, today he was tied for most points with Luka.
Yeah.
19 points. Both of them.
Trade him.
And the thing, well, you said this team
Trade
is
it.
different is because when you tell me last year your leading score is 19 and it's Luka, tell me how much they lost by. Like, what was the blowout by?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to ask you.
Absolutely.
If you just look at the box score, like that's insane.
Yeah.
And Kyrie only dropped 10 points today.
And we haven't even talked about him, Grant Williams. Like, he's
I think
quietly
he's been
averaging
crazy. Has he been always been that good of a 3-point shooter?
15 and 5. I'll pull it up really quick, but like he
I think
like,
he's been all right, like 3-point shooter, but he's been looking. Yeah, I think that's what you mostly picked him up for was the defense.
Yeah, and
he's been showing
so
you.
last year, his career average is 45.5% from the field, almost 39% from three. This season, he's averaging 55.5% from the field, so that's a whole like 10% jump.
Yeah,
and then from three, with a significant increase in attempts per game. So he typically averages roughly like 3.5 attempts per game. This season he's averaging
just like career.
Yeah, career 3.5 or so attempts per game.
Yeah.
This season he's averaging almost 7 a game, and he's shooting 56% from three.
It's a small sample size.
It's a small sample. It's
holy
6 games.
Crap.
7 games. But like still
56%.
Like, that kind of like just that sort of like improvement, and that is something that we didn't have last year, right? I mean, like when we needed somebody to defend prior to the Kyrie trade, we had Dorian Finney-Smith, which like great defender, and he could score on his day, but like he wasn't shooting 56. He wasn't shooting 56% from three.
Nah. And the thing is, I think you see that it's like that boost of what was it? You said like 3.5 point or 3.5 attempts per game, and now it's like 7.
Yeah.
Double day. I mean, that's just how the Mavs play.
Attempts.
That's the Mavs. I mean, you live and die by the 3 ball. That's what we do.
Yep. And I think that there's. I've been seeing like just reading like some of the articles and stuff like that on Twitter, and there's obviously been some gripes about Jason Kidd and how he coaches, and how like people are saying, or reporters and other commentators are saying that like if he doesn't have to make any in-game adjustments, I think he's a great coach. But when it comes to like having to make adjustments, like he would have had to do against the Nuggets, to go, it's like, oh well, let's get away from the small ball lineup and let's go to more like playing more bigs, playing D Live, playing Dwight Powell, playing Grant Williams at the 3, and stuff like that. That's like stuff that he struggles with. So I don't know. I mean, maybe that 3, like the live by the 3, die by the 3 is good, but who knows, man? I mean, if they can,
it's a good and bad.
If they can win, if they can win, 48 to 50 games this year, I mean, that'd be a pretty significant improvement. I think that gets us like the 6th seed.
Yeah.
I would probably say in the West, which I think is probably the realistic expectation for the team. Has to be, especially coming off of somewhere last year. But like Luka has been, I mean, just lights out, and like even though he's not scoring, like he doesn't have to score 35 points a game to keep his team afloat. Like just in being able to average, I think coming into tonight he was averaging like 32 a game, which is, I mean, that's MVP quality. If he
he's been insane.
If the Mavs can win games, so and I think that aside from the tech that he got last night, like I think he's kind of been smarter when it comes to like bitching at the refs.
You hear Grant Williams? He's like, no. I was like, let me complain for you. Let me do it for you. He's like, let me get the tech. Let me get the tech.
That's such a big like development, because I don't think anybody would do that. Like I know that like Luka and Dorian had a great relationship, but I don't think Dorian Finney-Smith's doing that. Like,
nah.
And I think that's something.
Yeah, I think it's just like and like I wanted to say like a mature NBA player, but I mean, Grant Williams only been in the league for what, 4 years, 5 years?
This is his 5th season.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was thinking, like he's more of a mature dude or just like more veteran dude, but no, he's you could say barely even been here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and then Vegas has 47.5 total wins. I don't know if that's. I don't think that's the beginning of the season. I want to say this is from now.
Oh, give me the over.
Because I feel like 47.5 is a lot if you would have said that before season.
Yeah, but like I would say give me the over right now. I think that's
minus 100.
So that's straight up. Yeah, I would say give me the over. I know I just said
before the season. I would have said
wins.
no. Yeah, I would have said no before the season and started. If I'm being honest,
I think I probably would have put it at like probably 43.5 is probably what I put it at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
but I think that like obviously right, barring health, I think that 47.5 is absolutely doable. And I think I don't know, you just kind of see it with Luka. I think he's after the World Cup and stuff like that. I think he came into the season great shape. He looks like he's kind of reset mentally, and it kind of looked like towards the end of the season last year, like he was just over it and just hated life. Like was questions on whether or not he was going to want to
can't blame him,
finish out his contract, but he wants to win. He's a competitor, and I think that starting the 7 games into the season, going 6-1, I think that's really going to help.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed. I'll give him that. I'm impressed. Yeah, they're proving me wrong once again.
No, absolutely. So
I love it.
I want to play a fun little game of Guess This Maverick.
Let's hear it
really quick if you want to indulge me. All right, so these are his per 36-minute stats. So for every 36 minutes, he's averaging roughly 17 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He leads the team in offensive rating, and he leads the team in win shares per 48 minutes at 0.34. And so take a guess on who you think this player is.
See, I know you were on the Hardaway, but if this is Hardaway, is he really averaging 7.5 rebounds?
No, definitely not Hardaway.
It's not Hardaway, right?
No, not Hardaway.
7.5 boards? Oh my god. 17 points. Is this Grant Williams?
No, Dwight Powell.
Shut the fuck up.
Dwight Powell. Now look. Hold on. So I was thinking about this, right?
Wait. This isn't what he's actually averaging, right? This is if he plays 36 minutes.
Per 36 minutes, this is what he's averaging. So it's obviously right. It's a super small sample size. He's averaging 8 to 10 minutes a game, right? And I know coming into the season, there was a lot of hate going towards his way. But if you look at his career offensive rating while he plays a bench role, and he's not coming off, and he's not your starting center, Dwight Powell has a role, and I think he executes that role as a solid bench big to perfection. Offensive rating of 182, that's
insane.
The average is 100, right? That is elite. And then obviously, right, win shares of 0.34 per 48. Luka's at 0.33 or 30.
No, stop, dude. Stop.
I'm just saying. I thought it was interesting.
This guy loves the numbers.
I'm a numbers guy. So yeah, man, I thought that was funny.
God.
And I figured you would get a kick out of it. But
wow. Still hate him.
Yeah, that's understandable. But with that, man, do you have any final NBA takes, or you ready to get into a little bit of hot takes?
I'll get into hot takes, man. I try to keep this close to an hour. Yeah,
keep it close to an hour. So one thing that we're doing that we kind of want to switch up is we kind of want to go back to getting hot takes. But what we're going to start doing is we're going to kind of start soliciting them from our Instagram feed. So that's a little plug. One, go obviously, right, subscribe to the podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a rating. Yeah, wherever you get it. But also too, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. We're trying to be a little bit more active when it comes to posting reels, interacting before and after games that we care about, right? So the Cowboys, Mavs. We were doing it for the Rangers. But now we kind of want to we were thinking about it, and we wanted to get some hot takes from some of our followers, kind of react to them. So we're gonna do a couple every week.
Let your voice be heard.
Yeah, let your voice be heard. So we'll give you guys a shout out on who it is. We'll tag your @ and we'll kind of put you guys in the show notes too and all that stuff. Just as a little thank you. So we're gonna do a couple today, and then we're gonna keep running with it. So the first one comes from Mason Ornelas. His Instagram @ is @oc.mason. And so his hot take was the Rangers won't sign Shohei Ohtani, but will get Josh Hader and Blake Snell from the Padres. So I know we kind of played a little scenario similar to that when you're talking about Monty and Hader versus Ohtani. So what do you think about that?
That's definitely a hot take just because of the Blake Snell is really throwing me off. I think he is going to be a free agent this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
That'd be he had, I think, the best ERA from like a certain time frame. I think after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
He had like a 1 point something since the All-Star break. It was like a 1 point something. I don't have the number pulled up, but absolute dog. And then, I mean, if the Rangers are willing to pay, I mean, they've shown that they're not scared to spend some money.
They're not shy of spending the money. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you were to tell me that, hey, we don't sign Ohtani, but you get Hader and Blake Snell, I'm happy. I feel like it's almost a win-win with Monty. And you let Monty walk and you get Snell.
I think that's a win.
I love it.
I think that's cool.
I love it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but
cool.
I think someone else will be willing to pay some more money for that, for Blake Snell. So someone would definitely pay the money for it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Mason. We're kind of moving on to the next one. Brian Ordoñez, and he's at I'll have to tag it in the show notes. I have no shot at giving it a
Ordoñez.
Yeah. So his take is the Cowboys won't ever win with the Joneses. The Joneses treat them as a brand, not a team. If you don't mind, I'm gonna take this one.
It's not even a hot take.
He's 100% right.
Yeah.
I think he's 100% right.
Yeah, it's not even a hot take. It's not even a hot take.
It's not. I think it's 100%. I mean, with the marketing of like the Cowboys as America's team, Jerry and Stephen Jones making decisions on a personnel basis when they have no business doing so. I think that's just always. I mean, we have a good roster, sure, but I just don't think that they're ever. I mean, look how long it took them to fire Jason Garrett. Look, I mean, they
don't care, dude. They don't care.
They don't. Yeah, as long as the money,
they don't lose.
As long as the money's rolling in, I mean, like I think there's certain owners that would pay millions upon millions of dollars for Super Bowl.
Exhibit A, Chris Young.
Yeah, I don't think the Rangers or the Cowboys would do so. Raul Plascencia, your cousin. Shout out to the boy.
My cousin.
He was at the parade with us. Yeah.
He was.
He said next year's Rangers team could be one of the greatest world champs in history, similar to the 96 Bulls. I think that's a wild take.
That is a very wild take, but I'm not even like, I'm here for it. I love it. I mean,
I'm here for it too.
We don't know how this team is going to look like when free agency is over, but you think about just like the possibility of seeing Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, Adolis, Corey Seager, Simeon, all in the same lineup. And if you sign Ohtani, I'm just saying if.
Yeah.
I just look like that, like Vince McMahon meme, bro. I'm just gonna be like,
I think what is that greatest of all time? Look, I mean, is that 120 wins, 115 wins?
Golly.
Like what is that? I don't even know. Like baseball terms, what is that? Because I mean, that was a Bulls team that went 73-9, right, or whatever. So, I mean, that would have to be a team that they'd have to pull some ridiculous record. I mean, imagine them winning 130 games. It's unbelievable.
I wouldn't put it past them. Actually, no, I would put it past them, depending on what they do with their bullpen and just shit. It's baseball, dude. But that would be insane. That's definitely That's a hot take. It's a hot take.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we got a couple more. We actually had a lot more submissions than I thought we were gonna do. So this is from Russell Gray, and his is at Russell Gray. Pretty easy. He says that Sam Howell is better than Brock Purdy. Thoughts?
Wow.
I think he's smoking crack. I think he's smoking crack.
I see where he's coming from. Just because, I mean, we've seen some spurts of Sam Howell looks like a dog. Give me Sam Howell against the Eagles any night or day, bro. I'm taking him from Brock Purdy, if I'm being honest.
Okay, dude. You're crazy.
Put Brock Purdy on the Commanders and put Sam Howell on the Commanders. Sorry.
okay, that's
Sam
okay.
Howell
That's
on
fair.
the Niners.
No, I know what you
On the
mean. I know
Niners.
what you mean.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know what you mean. I
Yeah,
know what you mean. I
I
get
think he's
it.
a really athletic guy. He's very athletic.
Yeah, I get it. He kind of reminds me of Baker Mayfield. I was looking
Yeah.
at it. I was looking at him like their game was on, and I was like, oh, he kind of just looks really similar to Baker Mayfield, and it could just be like just the way he wears his uniform and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I think
I
he definitely has like just a presence. Like I don't know what it is. It just really gives it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. And then the last one is from Caleb Leyva. His @ is @ Caleb_Leyva. And he says that Des Bryant's peak was one of the greatest peaks ever along the lines of Megatron.
Wow.
I thought that's a bold statement. It's a bold statement.
With Megatron? Oh. His peak was insane though. Like yeah, everyone throwing up the X.
I think the peak was crazy. I think that along the lines of Megatron is going to be tough to sell just for the sole purpose of Megatron had that 1950-yard season, almost 2,000 yards. I don't think Dez ever did anything like that, but I will say like the influence that Dez had on games. I mean, this dude was getting double covered. I mean, every week and still just absolutely balling. So I mean, I get where he's coming from. I don't know if I can go too far as say as along the lines of Megatron.
Megatron, yeah.
His peak was disgusting. And I at his peak he was a top. He's the best receiver in the NFL. And that may have been over Megatron a season, but I don't know if I can agree with the fact that his peak was better or as good as Megatron's peak. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Eesh.
But
that's for sure.
That's the hot takes that we have from the fans.
Those are some really good ones. Yeah, those are some pretty good ones.
They're good ones, yeah. So we're gonna kind of keep doing this every week, kind of round out the show. So, like I said, we'll mention everybody in the show notes that we use these hot takes from, and we'll probably post them to the story as well, as like a thank you and just say look forward to it. But with that, man, do you have any final takes? Any final words of wisdom or anything like that?
Nah, man. I think that's it.
That's it, right?
On to next week. We can't wait.
Yeah, on to next week. Yeah, it feels good to kind of be back on a regular schedule, kind of get back into it, talking a little bit of everything. Texas Rangers are still your World Series champs. We got a whole week to celebrate this, so we still
will be. Yes, we have all year if you want to celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, so
all up until next World Series. That's us.
Yeah, up until the Mavs World Championship in June, because we know the Cowboys aren't winning it. So
there we go. That being said, I like the tone.
Yeah, but with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. This is another regularly scheduled episode of Austin and Ollie. We'll be back next Tuesday. We're going to start releasing every Tuesday. Check out Instagram. Check out TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. We're going to be posting everything there. Give us a follow, share with your friends, subscribe, rate 5 stars, do all that stuff. But until next time, guys, we'll see you guys. Peace.